All right, what's going on, everybody? Meteorologist Chris Sowers here. It is 9:15 on Sunday evening, Sunday, July 5th. We've got this band of heavy thunderstorms approaching from the west. Now, we've only had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings up to this point, but we will likely see more as this gets closer and closer to the area. We had that one warning that was up for lower Bucks County. We still have the flash flood warning there. We have Doppler radar estimates anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. That fell in a short period of time. We also had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier that was up for northern portions of Kent County. That storm dissipated pretty quickly. Now notice this blob here in the center part of your screen near Ephrata, north of Lancaster. It's Lancaster County, Berks County, almost all of those counties. Actually, both of those counties in entirety are under severe thunderstorm warnings. And then they extend east into western Chester County and northern or upper portions of Montgomery County. Boyertown, Pottstown, Reading, Elverson, Lancaster, all included in the severe thunderstorm warnings. Right now, the primary threat here is going to be for strong straight line winds, just like yesterday. Some of these winds could pop 65, 70 mile an hour. That's a pretty good wind gust. It caused extensive damage out there yesterday. Yesterday evening, they had all kinds of problems out there in Lancaster County. A lot of power outages, a lot of snapped trees and uprooted trees and power lines down. It was a real mess. Well, now they're getting hit pretty good again. Eventually, what's going to happen, though, as the evening wears on, eventually what will happen is this will sort of transition over from a severe threat to just simply a heavy rain-producing threat and maybe a flash flooding event. All right, so the severe threat's probably only going to last for another hour or two, and then things, it's 9 o'clock, let's say through about 11 or so, and then this becomes more or less just drenching downpours with the possibility of flash flooding. But there's what we're looking at right now. That's the main event out there towards Lancaster. Notice we had a couple of, if you look closely here, I don't know if you guys can see that near Lebanon here, see these circles? We had a couple reports of wall clouds earlier this evening, or in other words, the base of the thunderstorm was rotating. That's how the tornado drops down from the base. All right, so we did have a little bit of rotation out there earlier this evening. That has since dissipated. There's no rotation out there at all in any of these storms at the moment. All we're seeing is just straight line winds. A little bit farther to the south, you can also see a big cluster of thunderstorms out there towards Baltimore. That is also warned approaching Cecil County and Newcastle County in Delaware. And then here's the mesoscale discussion. Now, what they have done, notice they have toned this down. All right, earlier this evening it was for 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, and now they're just suggesting 60 mile an hour winds. We don't even have a considerable tag on any of the warnings anymore, which is good. It kind of suggests to me that they're already starting to kind of ease back right now on the severe threat. Here's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning. 60 mile an hour winds out there in Lancaster, western Chester County, same thing. 60 mile per hour winds are possible with that. All right, so again, it looks like at this point, it looks like we're doing a little bit better than we were yesterday evening. If you remember yesterday evening, that whole thing just, it held together and it swept from west to east across the viewing area. And maybe at times it weakened a little bit, but for the most part, it held its own from Harrisburg all the way to, I don't know, maybe Toms River in South Jersey there. So what we're going to be on the lookout for, my dog, heads up, Murphy. My dog's hiding it. My dog hates thunderstorms, so he's hiding right here, right in between me and the desk. So this is as close as I can get. It's okay, good buddy. Oh my gosh, a poor little guy. He hates the loud thunder, and he hates the bright lightning strikes too. Just absolutely hates them. All right, so we have a severe thunderstorm watch up that is in effect until, I believe it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Let me double check. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect, yes, until 1 o'clock in the morning. It's up for just about the entire viewing area. We also have the flood watch up. This is up for the entire viewing area. It's up until tomorrow evening. Now, there's going to be clusters. There's going to be rounds of thunderstorms sweeping through here. Here's a look at the model run, and let's flip it over to what I'm going to do here. We're in observation mode right now. What I want to do is I want to flip it over to the precipitation mode so you can see the composite. All right, so here's a look. What's going to end up happening here is notice the thunderstorms. That looks pretty close right there. Right there. All right, that's what the radar might look like by 10. Well, that's current. All right, so it's pretty darn close, and that's 10. Pretty darn close. They line up pretty well. So these heavy downpours, see how they approach the city, and then boom, they just kind of vanish, right? I mean, it's almost like they get to the Delaware River and then put the brakes on, and that's it. See that? And then we get a little bit of rain in southern New Jersey, but not much. And then as we get into Monday, that's where everything kind of shifts east. See that? Big thunderstorms to the east on the coastal plain. See that there? All right, so the main event tonight looks like it's going to be out here. That's what the radar might look like by 10. That's what the model suggests. Here's what the model looks like right now. It lines up very, very well. All right, let's go to velocity mode. We do not have any areas of rotating winds. All right, nothing that is of significance, anything that would suggest, okay, hey, we're going to have to keep our eye on this. Looks like everything is pretty much straight line at this point. Here's a look at the outlooks. All right, now we talked about this earlier. This is the categorical, and this is a level 2. All right, a level 2 out of 5 that was issued by the Storm Prediction Center. This has been issued now for a couple of days, and this is in effect until, usually they update this again around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning or so. So this is going to remain a level 2 until that cluster, until this right here. All right, until all of this settles down. All right, when this settles down, then and only then will this be discontinued by the Storm Prediction Center. So again, here's a look at the radar. You can see things are lighting up exactly where they have the height in level 2 here. Now, as far as that is concerned, the tornado threat is non-existent, which is good news. Now, we had a tornado warning up earlier. We had a tornado warning up for the Harrisburg television market. It was right for downtown Harrisburg. And then we also had rotation in Lebanon County and northern portions of Lancaster County. But notice, the Storm Prediction Center really isn't all that concerned about rotation. What they are concerned about is right there, strong straight line winds, okay? And you can clearly see the bullseye right here, okay? It's going to be in this area where there could be 60 to 70 mile per hour straight line winds over the next few hours. Now, it's this area here, all right, this circle, that has the best chance of seeing flash flooding over the next couple of hours. So this is storm threat down here, and this is flash flood threat up here. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're up against, what we're facing over the next couple of hours. As far as hail is concerned, not much of a threat. Go back to the categorical. This is tonight. This is tomorrow. We downgrade everything. Last couple of nights, we've had some really rough stuff. We've had level 2s and level 3s from the Storm Prediction Center. Tomorrow, we're not even in a level 1. Tomorrow, this is just what you see here. You see that light shade of green? That is just your overall thunderstorm threat. No severe weather here expected for tomorrow. All heavy drenching downpours. And as the Weather Prediction Center actually has an elevated risk for flash flooding right here. All right, this whole area here tomorrow afternoon and evening. So tonight, all right, it's here. Tomorrow it all shifts east, out and through here. Okay. So we got one more day, believe it or not, to get through before things start to finally settle down. Boy, that wind was wild, absolutely wild yesterday evening when those storms blew through. And I'm hoping we don't see a repeat performance here this evening. Now, one of the things that we're concerned about with the flash flooding is the potential for training. Now, remember what training is, and I'm sure you guys have heard this term over and over and over again. There's backbuilding and there's training. Training means storms are moving over the same areas over and over and over again. Okay, as we set it in motion for you, it does appear that's happening already out here to the west. Look at the severe thunderstorm warned areas west of Philadelphia. You see that big blob out there? But notice there's more thunderstorms just off to the southwest. They still have to come through. That is what is meant by training. Okay, backbuilding is sort of similar in that. All right, so this is training. Oh, that's why. Hold on. Sorry, I still have it in telestrator mode. All right, so this is training. All right, see, you got one round here, another round here. Now, what backbuilding would be a situation where, let's say, a thunderstorm developed here, all right, and instead of it moving away and this area clearing, you would have another thunderstorm develop here, and that too would move over, and another one would develop here, and that too would move up. All right, that's the backbuilding. All right. So in essence, they both do the same thing. They they take on different names. All right, looks like we finally got a storm report here. Let's see what this is. This is near Ephrata, right? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Damage report, tree limbs blocking part of West Main Street in the eastbound lane. It does not tell me what town that is, though. I didn't realize we had a town called Denver in Lancaster County. That's interesting. All right, so this is just south. All right, we're near Clay. All right, to give you an idea, there's Ephrata right there. So we're southeast of Clay. This right here is see this right here? This is the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Look at all the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes out there right now. All right, and so this is saying right here on this road, Jaden Meyer is the storm reporter saying tree limbs are blocking part of West Main Street in the eastbound lanes. All right, so they clearly had some pretty good wind gusts with some of this stuff. And again, the National Weather Service is worried potentially about 60 to 70 mile an hour straight line winds with some of these storms. All right, here's a look at another round coming out of York County. This is actually right on 83, right over York, moving to the east very, very slowly. That was the thing, too. These storms are moving a lot slower today than they have been over the last couple of days. Last couple of days, they've been motoring along 40, 45, 50 miles per hour. Today, it's more like 20, maybe 25 miles per hour. So when a storm is moving slower like that, it has the opportunity to produce more of a downpour. You know, you see a longer duration of heavy rain. And that's why we have the heightened threat here for flash flooding. All right, this whole entire area is now under the flash flood warning. Let's see what the warning states. Warning states right here. All right, flash flood warning up. This is out of the Philadelphia area. This is for Adams County and York County. Doppler radar estimating between 1 and 2 inches of rain. An additional 1 to 2 is about to fall. Flash flooding is actually ongoing already. All right, remember the saying, turn around, don't drown. When encountering flood waters, most flood deaths occur. That's actually some good information to know. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. All right, let's go down to Cecil County, which is right here. So they're not playing any games here. It's for this storm here. They've already issued the warning. They've already issued the warning for Cecil County for this storm all the way down here. There it is right there. So you can see it's got a, that storm's not even in Aberdeen yet, and they've already put Cecil County in the warning. So what they want everybody to do here is to get inside, because this is likely popping some pretty good wind gusts here too. Now let's see how strong the winds are with this one. All right, this is radar indicated. Notice there's no considerable tag. There's no destructive tag. This is just a regular severe thunderstorm, 60 mile an hour wind gusts. Let's see how fast it's moving. The source is radar indicated. The hazard is 60 mile an hour winds. It is in effect until 10:45, moving northeasterly at 25 miles per hour. All right, so it's moving towards Newark, Delaware. All right. Other than that, we do have this storm here in Burlington County, right along 206. All right, if you're heading out of Chemung, all right, why do I keep doing that? If you're heading out of Chemung, all right, lifting north on 206, and you look towards the left or the west, you probably have a tremendous light show going on right now. Heavy, drenching downpours and a ton of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. There's the movement right there. That thing actually just blew through my town and brought some pretty good rain. It didn't last long, but the rain was coming down pretty heavily, right through Voorhees, too, and Medford Lakes. Big, drenching downpours and some cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. You know, if I hit this dictionary thing one more time. I'm doing it again. Why is that doing that? All right, let's zoom out. All right, so there's the flash flood warning. All right, this is up for lower Bucks County. This is up for the northern portions of Philadelphia County and also lower Montgomery County. Now, that's in effect for a couple more hours. Notice the storms that produce that flood warning, those are no longer even on the picture at this point. They're long gone. So any flooding that we are seeing will likely... Okay, why is this... All of a sudden, my controls aren't working. This is interesting. All right, there we go. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do here? I'm just going to stay on this for a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to get some shut eye. I am absolutely exhausted. Holiday weekends wear me out. I don't know about you guys, but they wear me out. The heat and humidity probably had a lot to do with it too. I am just absolutely drained right now. Absolutely drained. And I just want to close my eyes. I want to lay in bed, and I want to get like 10 hours of sleep. It's not going to happen, but that's another thing I've noticed too. As I've gotten older, I don't sleep very well anymore. I used to sleep okay, and now I mean, some folks will, they'll see me updating things at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, "Do you ever sleep?" And I'm like, "No, I can't. I don't ever sleep." I used to sleep. I used to sleep great. I don't know whatever happened. All right, there's a look at the radar. Boy, that's filling in nicely out there to the west. It's going to be interesting to see how much rain they end up getting. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go over to, tell you what, let's go over to precip totals. Here's a look at the storm. Wow, boy, these are starting to add up. Holy smokes. All right, so we see that orange south of Ephrata and by Elizabethtown out there northwest of Lancaster. That's at least 3 inches of rain, and in some areas 4. And keep in mind, it's still raining out here. All right, so it's still raining in this part of Lancaster County, and yet they already have 3 inches. This was for the warning. All right, this is in Abington. Looks like we also have 2 to 3, maybe 3.5 inches. So let's say from lower Southampton Township southwest, right there into Abington Township. We also had that one pocket. That was a good storm that developed. And then here's the thunderstorm that came right across the Delaware Bay through Hopewell Township and then lifted north into Elmer and Washington Township. Let's say Clayton got hit pretty good in Williamstown, and then it lifted through Camden County and into Burlington County, and that's where it is right now. Here's a look at the high res. All right, so it's this right here that's producing the heavy rain. But that's really it. That's really it at the moment. Okay, there's nothing here that's, nothing right now that I'm saying, oh man, we got to watch this. There's nothing eye-popping, at the moment. It's just a lot of heavy rain. Yes, everything's warned, which it should be, because there is the, potential for 50 to 60 mile an hour winds with this. Yes. But there's just nothing that I see right now where I'm kind of fearful for that area, saying, oh boy. Here's a look at some of the wind gust reports. This storm right here, it looks like they have a 50 mile an hour wind. That was reported by a storm reporter named Evan Winter. Just had a wind gust of 43 miles per hour north Heidelberg Township, Berks County. All right, 43 miles per hour is nothing. That's a breezy day around here. You know what I mean? That's not a big deal. So it looks like what's going on out there towards Reading, even though it is warned at the moment. It looks like this is more or less just a lot of heavy rain falling and gusty winds, but nothing crazy like we saw yesterday. Yesterday was pretty wild for a time. Definitely pretty wild. Here's a look at the satellite. You can see the big cloud tops. Watch these come motoring on in. See that? Some of those clouds are spiking 30, 35,000 feet. Easy. That's big cloud tops. And then you can see how the temperatures are starting to cool down too. Look at all the 70s out there now. Boy, that's nice to see. Look around the northeast extension south of Quakertown. Look at that 73 there. There's also a 73 in Doylestown. Looks like another 73 out there in Norristown, 70 in Lancaster, Trenton down to 73, 77 in Mount Holly, Philly it looks like 79, and Wilmington 81. So a lot of these numbers are going to start cooling, which is fabulous, because I know many of you are probably like, enough, I'm sick and tired of all of this heat and humidity. And yes, I am too. It looks like we do have the Climate Prediction Center, CPC outlooks. Let's look at the precipitation outlook. Let's see what that shows. Shows above normal precipitation for the month. All right, well, that's good. All right, here's a look at all the active alerts. All right, without the radar. I wanted to clean it up a little bit. All right, so what you have going on here is you have the orange shaded area is the severe thunderstorm watch. That's up until 1 o'clock in the morning. So they're expecting some of these storms to continue to be pretty hefty through the midnight hour. All right, then if you see this darker shade of green, not the bright side, I know there's a lot of shade of greens. this color here out by Stroudsburg. All right, that's the flood watch. That's up for the whole area. Now, that's in effect until Monday evening. They didn't actually specify a time. So it's tomorrow evening. So we got the severe thunderstorm watch. We got the flood watch. The yellow shaded area here, all right, and you got some here by Reading, all right. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. Then you have this shade of green here. Those are flash flood warnings. You have another one here. And then this shade of green is just a regular flood warning. Hopefully you got all that. It's crazy everything that's going on right now when you put it all together. All right, here's the excessive rainfall outlooks. All right, so this is another thing that we're going to have to watch. So it's going to be, you see that bullseye, okay? You can clearly see that red shaded area. That's where we could see the flash flooding, even though the heaviest rain at the moment has been down here, all right, where I just circled. It's going to be this area here overnight that has the best chance of running into some flash flooding. All right, now there's a couple reasons for this. One, this is the same area that's been getting hit pretty hard over the last couple of days. I mean, think about the big storms that blew through there yesterday and the day before. Both of them produced drenching downpours, Doppler radar estimates close to an inch, if not more. So the ground's not completely saturated per se, but it's not as bone dry as it's been in, recent weeks, right? We are still technically in a drought. Well, we've had thunderstorms and downpours last couple of days. So the ground is a little more saturated right now than it has been recently. So you have that. Two, you've got the rocky terrain. All right, think about this for a second. The coastal plain, and we talk about this all the time, right here. All right, the area I'm just circling, southern New Jersey, it's sandy soil. All right, think about the Pine Barrens for a second. It's all like a sandy soil. And the sandy soil holds a lot of moisture. It can hold 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. You get up here in the rocky terrain, and you can barely hold an inch and a half. All right, so the terrain is not favorable for heavy rain up here. You've also had heavy rain over the last couple of days, and this also happens to be this X right here, the target area where the heaviest rain is going to fall tonight. All right, so you put it all together, and you've got the possibility of some really big flash flooding taking place tonight in that bullseye area. That thing shifts east. See that? As we head into tomorrow. So now it's Philadelphia's turn. Now it's Vineland's turn. Now it's Toms River's turn. Trenton, Millville, Gloucester County, Camden County, Burlington County, Hamilton, Atlantic County. These whole areas, Bucks County, Montgomery County, Philadelphia County, Delco, Eastern Chester. Everything shifts east, okay? So again, keep your eye on the red, all right? This is tonight. That's where the flash flooding is likely going to occur. That is tomorrow. Tonight, tomorrow. All right. Storm Prediction Center, convective outlooks. This is tonight, tomorrow. I see how everything settles down. Active tonight. This right here is just your overall thunderstorm threat tomorrow. There's no severe threat here. Okay, so things will settle down. Everything transitions over tonight into a heavy rain event. Okay, flash flooding potential. Geez, boy, this really filled in. Look at all the downpours out here. All right, here's a look at what the modeling has. This is the composite radar. All right, that's what it shows by 10 o'clock. It's 9:40. That model is absolutely nailing it because that's pretty much what it looks like right now. All right? So that's what the model suggests the radar is going to look like at 10. So about 20 minutes from now, this is what the radar is supposedly going to look like according to the modeling. That's current. That's awful darn close. So it looks like the modeling is doing a pretty good job. All right, so here's 10 o'clock again. Oh, there's 10. There's 11. 10, 11, midnight. 1 a.m. What just happened? They vanished. Everything vanished as it approached Philadelphia. Philadelphia will likely get some downpours and thunderstorms out of this, but southern New Jersey might not get much. All right, let's kind of rewind that. That's 10. That's 11. 10, 11. 11. Midnight. Boom, they're gone. They're gone. Now, as you fast forward into tomorrow, all right, you see the downpour. My bad. See the downpours here tomorrow? They're all south and east, exactly where the Weather Prediction Center put the high risk for flash flooding. Here's a look at the 6-hour total. Here's a look at the QPF totals right here. Look at that. This is going all the way out to 8 o'clock tomorrow. You see this color here? That's 6 inches of rain. This color right here, that whitish grayish color, here's another pocket here, that's 6 inches of rain. All right, so there's going to be a lot of rain falling here over the next 24 to 36 hours. This is heading north up the northeast extension, okay? Emmaus, Macungie out this way. Getting here, Quakertown somewhere in here, just to kind of give you an idea. Bethlehem is somewhere around here. Easton's around here. Phillipsburg. These are all areas that could get pummeled over the next 24 to 36 hours. It has 3.3 in Reading. 3.26 in Reading, 3.3 in Allentown. Look at Palmerton. Look at the Doppler radar estimate there, 5.18. Washington, I believe that's Warren County in New Jersey, 4.61. Norristown, 2.3. These are big, big downpours here. Flash flooding is going to be a big problem up this way. Remember, in a flash flood warning, you are moving to higher ground if you're in a flood-prone area. Okay? If you're near a smaller creek or stream, if you're in an area that typically floods during a heavy rain event and you start getting flash flood warnings popping on your phone, all right? Make sure your phone's set to alerts. If you start getting warnings on your phone, flash flood warnings, and you live in an area that typically floods, don't mess around. You've got to move to higher ground, okay? There's just so much moisture in the air right now. Look at the radar, all right? Look at how everything is this bright red color. Look at the returns here. Like, this is not, you may say to yourself, oh, sometimes these things hit, sometimes they don't. These guys don't know what they're talking about. Look, I would take every warning seriously tonight. All right, every single warning. Don't mess around tonight. It's just not worth it in the end. Remember, floodwaters, turn around, don't drown. You do not want to drive on floodwaters. You just don't know the depth of the water. You also don't know the condition of the road underneath that water. It's just not worth it. There's plenty of different routes you can take. Barricades, you don't want to drive through barricades. And I know I sound like a broken record here because I said this earlier, but it's worth repeating. When it comes to this wind damage, same thing. Probably going to be some power outages out there. Some of you might not even have power from the storms that blew through yesterday. All right, so it's going to be difficult this time of night when you don't have any electricity to even see what's going on. There's a lot of heavy rain out here, a ton. And it's all lifting north, all right, north of the Pennsylvania Turnpike in this area here. Not much going on to the southeast. Not much going on at all. So again, remember what the modeling suggested. All right, the modeling showed all of this eventually dropping this way and then hitting a brick wall right here. All right, it's almost like once it hit the Delaware River, boom, that was it. And then tomorrow, everything got going east of that line. All right, so assuming the modeling is correct, we'll see. There probably isn't going to be too much here in South Jersey. But I got to tell you, I would keep my eye on this cluster here that's moving out of Baltimore and pushing into Cecil County. Because if you remember last night, this is exactly what happened last night. The line that was approaching from the west fizzled out, and then this stuff down here strengthened, and it pushed northeast. And I'm telling you, they were ferocious winds. I have some really good video that was sent in to me. I wish I was able to share it with you guys, but I have some really great video of what the Delaware River looked like. I mean, there was waves, real waves on the Delaware River because of how strong the winds got. You could see the white caps. You could see the boats trying to navigate in it because the boats were sitting there, trying to take on the fireworks show. Same thing with Ocean City, the back bays. I had video where waves were forming on the back bay. I mean, the wind was roaring. The flags are blowing like this. I mean, those winds were no joke last night. And now that we have this thing kind of developing out here tonight, there's a chance we could go through it again. Remember, here is the severe thunderstorm watch. All right, this area right here in orange. There's also a mesoscale discussion that was issued. Here's the watch. All right here. All right, thunderstorm watch. The probability of tornadoes is low, which is good, but the probability of strong straight line winds is pretty high. See that? It's 50%. That's pretty high. All right, so we could end up seeing some pretty good wind gusts here over the next couple of hours. All right, I was trying to get the traffic cams involved this time around. I was looking at some of the traffic cameras, PennDOT, and DelDOT, and NJDOT, and it's dark now. So it's some of these cameras, it's hard to really see anything. So maybe I'll save that for tomorrow if we start getting into a weather situation again, so I can give you guys some visuals. But right now, this is a tremendous light show out to the west, a ton of lightning. There's a lot of heavy rain out there too, and we've got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly well west of Philadelphia, Lancaster, and Berks counties, and that's it. That's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy stuff right now in Philadelphia. And the Jersey Shore, boy, it's been a delightful weekend down there, right? I mean, you had one warning last night. It was up for the Villas. It was up for Western Cape May, right where the Cape May Lewis Ferry takes off down to Cape May Point. But the storm never really made it to you guys. It fizzled out over the mouth of the Delaware Bay. But outside of that, and I know they canceled some stuff in Wildwood because of that warning. They forced folks off the beach, but nothing ever hit Wildwood. That was it, though. That was really it, other than a thunderstorm or two that I think a thunderstorm or two did hit Ocean City last night, if I remember this correctly. It came through really, really late, though. I'm talking about the daylight hours. The daylight hours have been fine for the most part down there. Tomorrow that changes. So if this is your vacation week, the next 2 days down there look pretty stormy. It's not going to be raining every hour of the day, but it does look a little stormy down there Monday and Tuesday. Maybe you get numerous downpours and thunderstorms throughout the day. Not much going on. All right. Well, we got some more wind reports. Let's see what this one says. Storm Prediction Center, trees and wires down across Diamond Street. What the heck county is that? Oh, that's near Ephrata. All right. That's the tree limb blocking the road. And that is the 43-mile-an-hour gust. That's it. That's all we have, though. And, of course, we have the wall cloud reports out there in Lebanon County and Dauphin County, the Harrisburg television market. That's it. That's all we have. We don't even have... we got a couple storm reports down here towards Baltimore and D.C. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. What's this one right here? That one's a full tree knocked over with wind at the trunk measuring 12 inches in diameter, blocking a road. That's near Westminster. We've got this wind report here, southeast of Chestertown. Several large tree branches down on the east side of Centerville. So you have some damage reports down here to the south, and you have a couple to our west, but not much else. Much, much quieter, guys. Much, much quieter than yesterday. Hopefully we can keep it that way. There were a ton, and I mean an absolute ton, of wind damage reports yesterday. Also a ton of power outages. There's still a lot of folks without power out here. So hopefully this is, a little bit easier. We could all certainly use the rain, but that's it. All right, so again, if you're just now tuning in, this is what we're worried about tonight. The main idea here is for flash flooding. All right, there's still that strong straight line wind threat for the next couple of hours, but once that comes and goes, let's say by 11 o'clock, that's done. So maybe let's give it another hour and a half, something like that. And then it becomes a flash flooding threat. All right, so look at the towns and communities here. Pottsville's in this, Lebanon's in this, Reading and Lancaster, you're seeing flooding out there now. You got flood warnings. Quakertown's in this, Allentown is in this, Norristown, Boyertown, Pottstown, Elverson, Doylestown, Coatesville, Westchester, Ephrata, Hamburg, Easton, Bethlehem, Lansdale, Frenchtown. If I've mentioned any one of those towns and you live there, you're going to wind up dealing with flash flooding. over the next 36 hours. Lehighton, you're involved in this too. Mount Pocono, Stroudsburg. Stroudsburg got hammered yesterday. Big wins. Blairstown, home of Blair Academy, you're involved. Bangor, all right. Port Jarvis, up there in the peak of Sussex County. So that's where the area of concern is going to be tonight. Here's the area of concern tomorrow. All right, so some areas it's a dual hit, like Allentown and Quakertown and Lansdale and Pottstown and Boyertown and Norristown. You're getting hit tonight, you're getting hit tomorrow. But generally speaking, notice everything shifts. Today, tonight, tomorrow, tomorrow night. Today, tonight, tomorrow, tomorrow night. Everything kind of shifts. All right, heavy drenching downpours is going to be the main threat here. And also, look, I want you to notice, too, there's a heightened concern for flash flooding at the Jersey Shore as well. So very heightened here in red, but yellow is a pretty significant risk, too. Let's go over to Monday. Monday, there's still the threat, or excuse me, Tuesday. Tuesday, there's still the threat of a little bit of flash flooding here. Now, it's lower, but a threat. Wednesday is when we finally clear. All right, so there's tonight. Storm Prediction Center, again, categorical. Level 2 out of level 5, all right, for the next couple of hours here. There's a look at the radar. Not much going on. There's a look at the precip totals. Here's a look at the composite, though, as we set it in motion. This is what the radar should look like by 10. All right, that's 10 o'clock. So that's about 9 minutes from now. And that's almost, look at this, guys. That's almost, look at that. That matches almost perfectly. All right? So that's 9. That's 10. 11. Midnight. 2 in the morning. 3 in the morning. 5 in the morning. 6 in the morning. All right, if you're heading to work early, there could be some showers out there, but the big downpours are gone. There's 8 in the morning. Now we could have some more thunderstorms popping. The model wants to put some near Hamilton, Blueberry Country. All right. Around 9 in the morning, now they're over Wharton State Forest. 11 o'clock in the morning, everything is east of Philadelphia tomorrow morning. There's midday. There's 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, midnight. And now we're in Tuesday morning. Okay? And again, here's a look at the rainfall totals. Big downpours. Flash flooding, a big concern here tonight. And then again, everything will shift southeast here as we head into tomorrow. All right? So bottom line, again, take every single warning seriously. Every single warning. All right. All right. I got to go to bed. I don't think you're going to have to worry about tornadoes or anything like that tonight. Just remember, again, if you have a warning, it's late. Everybody should be inside anyway. But you know what you might want to do? This is, if you're still up and you're watching me right now, you know what you might want to do? This just kind of crossed my mind. Maybe get a flashlight, sleep with a flashlight, or a candle or something like that, just in case the power goes out and you guys, think about it. If it's going to be really, really dark, right? Because everybody's sleeping, it's nighttime. Well, if the power goes out and you suddenly can't turn lights on, it could be a little, you know what I mean? So what I would do is just maybe get a flashlight and hang out with the flashlight for a little bit, put it on the dresser next to you or something, and make sure that all your, devices are charged, your iPads, your cell phones. I would be charging them right now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that as soon as I'm done doing this here. Just simply because there's a chance you guys end up losing power here. I would think power outages, if you're going to get them, are going to be out here. All right. Not so much east of there, because I think you saw what the modeling did. Once it hit the Delaware River, the storms just vanished. So, we'll have to keep our eye on this. This looks pretty healthy as it's moving into Cecil County. That's going to keep coming that way. But I don't think you're going to get power outages east of this line here tonight. West of there, you could. All right? Okay. Now I gotta go to bed. Let's see. I have to figure out how to do this. All right, you guys take care. I will obviously be updating you guys throughout the day tomorrow and get you through tomorrow's round too. Tomorrow is really not much in the way of severe weather. It's more or less just a lot of heavy drenching downpours. All right, you guys have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?